Hi, Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness here. It's been a little while since I did a video. Part of that was my fault. I tried to record one a couple days ago, and I didn't realize until after I recorded it that I forgot to turn the microphone on. So I was like, oh, and I told my son about it, and he said, Mom, that's a rookie mistake. And it is a rookie mistake. I am not the most savvy person with technology. I struggle with it. So bear with me as I try to learn these systems here with the technology. But it's so frustrating. So it was a really good video too. And I was like, oh, so then I was busy with work and, class the last couple days and just didn't have a chance to get a video done. So I'm coming at you now. I made sure that the microphone's working and it's on. And as you can see, there's some kind of, I don't know if you can see it, there's a reflection from the outside because the sun's out and on my glasses, but I don't know how to get that out. And I need my glasses so I can see the notes. So just bear with me. So, hopefully it won't be too much of an issue as you watch this, but thank you for joining me today. I wanted to talk about energy today. And it's a pretty big topic, so I'm gonna, talk about it, but there's so much to it that, I could basically do multiple shows on it. But this is kind of an introduction to energy. And I remember when I was going through this process, the spiritual awakening I talked about in earlier videos, it was about 2000, in 15 is when I really started awakening, so to speak. And I remember, you know, being very interested in energy because unfortunately, we're not taught any of this in school. I mean, we're taught a little bit about it in science class or physics, right? But not really. I mean, I don't really remember learning much about it. We're definitely not taught about our spiritual selves and our spiritual part of ourselves and how that interacts with energy and how energy is, all around us. We don't really learn about those concepts in school or church. And so I really didn't know anything about it except for what I learned, the small amount I did learn in science class in school. So I really kind of wanted to learn more and more and more about it. And I was quite fascinated. And there is a quote that Tesla says. Now, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact way he said it, but he basically said a quote that everything, if you want to know anything about the universe, if you really want to know the secrets of the universe, it's all in energy, vibration, and frequency. And he is exactly correct. And I figured that out over the last 10 years as I started doing more and more research into this. And my curiosity was definitely tweaked because I was going through this process. And also, as the spirit guides started to teach me, I did have a lot of lessons with them that involved energy, information about energy, and quantum physics. So I would advise you that if you really would like to learn more, to look into Tesla's work because he did, a good bit of work involving energy. He figured out how to harness energy from the planet, and basically, he was able to light up light bulbs from it. He had light bulbs in the ground, and it was, quite a fascinating experiment. And he was able to light it up just bringing energy from the atmosphere through the towers. I can't remember the name of the towers it was something, a special name, but he developed these towers that was pulling energy out of the atmosphere. And he was able to light up the light bulbs, which was quite fascinating. But also quantum physics, I would look into that as well because that explains a lot about how energy works on such a small, little atomic level. So that might give you some information and be able to give you a basis a little bit about how energy works. But basically, energy, just like Tesla said, everything in the universe is energy, vibration, and frequency. So everything. So we're talking not, the planets in space, the stars, the sun, everything in space is basically controlled by energy, frequency, and vibration. They all have a vibration, they all have energy, and all that energy is working together. That's why astrology is always so accurate because it's basically a measurement of the energy like between planets. So when the planets are in a line or if they're in a trine or a square, there's all those astrology terms. It interferes, well, I don't want to say it interferes, but it influences their energy. And then we can kind of follow that by what we know about the planets. and how they interact with each other and how their energetic signatures. And then we can figure that out. So basically, it's quite fascinating. Hold on, let me fix my, there you go. The sun's coming in at an angle there. So basically, energy is quite fascinating. And it, goes on that big level galactic. But also, the Earth has an energy signature. She has a vibration. And the Earth has, she's vibrating, she has frequency, and she's energy. And lately, we've been seeing a lot of, I'm trying to get that. There we go. Oh, that sun's coming in. It's brutal. Okay. She is basically having a lot of, we have a lot of volcanoes going on and earthquakes. And so she is shifting her energy signature as we shift our energy signature. So she's releasing energy, she's shifting. So she has energy and vibration too and frequency. And we can see that in what's going on with a lot of these, with the earth things that are going on right now. Also, we are full of vibration frequency as well in vibration and in energy, and we are energy. And so our physical bodies look solid to us, but actually we're vibrating and there's a frequency to us. Now, our physical body has different layers of like, I guess, spiritual bodies or energy bodies around us, and there's many layers of them, and they interact with our physical body. So our physical body is the 3D manifestation of the energy. And so what I mean by that is on the 3D level, it is so very much dense down here in 3D that it's like that's why we look solid, because we were able to take that energy, create our bodies, with divine help, of course. And there we are, we have our physical body, but it's like it's vibrating at such a slow level because it's such a dense, we're at such a dense place in the 3D existence. So we're made out of energy, but it's the solidification, like solidifying of the energy because it's moving so slow. So, also, we are vibrating on eternally. So our organs vibrate at a different, a different vibration. We have our atoms vibrate, our cells vibrate. Everything within us has a vibration and frequency to it, which is quite, pretty cool when you think about it. So we're all full of energy and vibration. So in frequency. So everyone on the planet is like that. Though we're really not taught that about ourselves, that we have that, but we are. And same with our different energetic layers around us. We definitely, there's a vibration and frequency to those as well. So I want to move on to the hermetic principles, probably not saying that right. And it's number 3, and it talks about the principle of vibration. Everything holds a vibration: physical matter and spiritual energy. So when he says everything, he means everything in the universe holds vibration, physical matter, and spiritual energy. Atoms are in a constant motion, which is true, as the universe itself. So the universe is constantly changing and it's in constant motion. Our hearts give off, this is really cool. So listen to this part. Our hearts give off a different vibration depending on our emotional state. And that is true. We have the power to control our vibration. Think thoughts and do things that put you at ease and raise your vibration. So he's correct. Our hearts have a vibration to it, and it gives off a certain, depending on how we are emotionally. So if you're full of love and light and you're happy and joyful, you're going to give off a higher frequency vibration in your heart than if you're not. If you're upset, sad, angry, that's a lower vibrational energy, and so it's going to be a much slower, lower vibration. So basically, we have through our thoughts and our basically thoughts and the things that we do, our behaviors and what we say, we are able to control our vibration. So our mind has a lot to do with this. Our mind can control a lot of where we are vibrationally. And there are things that you can do to raise your vibration that I mentioned in earlier videos. But there's are different things you can do to help lift your vibration and get you to where you want to be. I think this key too is to it is when you find yourself, being upset or angry, it's the key is to allow yourself to basically listen to, and feel the feeling of the anger or being upset or sadness or whatever. But then quickly transmute it into a higher level vibration. And I've noticed that it's taken me many years. Hold on, see, still see. I'm not quite sure. There you go. I'm trying to get it so you can see me. The sun's just coming in at such an angle. All right. I'm trying here. Bear with me. I would get up and mess with that, but I can tell the sun's right in that corner. So basically, we can influence our vibration that way. But I think it's taken me a few years to learn how to do that. So it's taken me a few years to figure out. There we go. How to figure out how to transmute into a higher vibration. So if I get upset or I'm angry, I'm setting up angry for just a few minutes, maybe a couple hours, and then I quickly try to, I guess, get over it and lift myself up to a higher vibration. And there's different ways and techniques you can do to help you do that. For me, it's breathing. If I just, take a break and just kind of breathe and focus on my breathing and just relax, it helps me to kind of regulate myself and get back to a higher, vibrational thinking and thought patterns and words and get over that upset feeling. But that's a really good principle. And I feel like it describes energy very well. But it also takes it not just from the galactic perspective and the planetary perspective, but also to us as individuals about how it works with us and how we interact with it. I remember as a child seeing auras on people as a child, but I didn't quite know what I was looking at. And now, of course, I figured out that's what it was. But as a kid, I didn't know. I just remember seeing kind of like when I would look at people, I would see this glowing kind of hovering over them. And, I could see it, but I had to really kind of focus to see it. I couldn't see it on everybody. So, if I just look at someone and glance at them, I didn't really notice it. But if I really looked at them and focused on what I was looking at, then I could see it. And it was different thickness. Some people had thicker like coverings than others. And it was kind of like a golden color is the way it looked to me. And it was like shiny, it was bright and gold. So bright light color. Um, and then I saw that, growing up, I didn't know what it was, but I kind of figured other people weren't seeing it because I would mention it and they didn't know what I was talking about. So I'm like, okay, I'm seeing something. And I figured it had something to do with energy and people, but I wasn't quite sure as a child. And then as I grew up, I figured out what I was seeing. But I wanted to share a situation that happened to me that was really quite unique with just looking at the sun in that corner. You can see it coming in the rays. That's really quite cool. I mean, I know it makes it hard to see me, but it's it's really cool to look at it. So when I went to a convention, a conference convention type event for work, and this was a couple years ago, but I was already starting to spiritually awaken, and I had been going down to that, for a couple years. I had been dealing with that. And so I already was on the path, so to speak. And I was sitting there and I remember I was at a table and there was about 2, 3 other people with me at the table, and we were all sitting there facing a stage. And there was about maybe 5 or 6 people on the stage that they were having a panel. And I remember, I'm going along, taking notes, listening, everything's normal. Yeah, see how the sun shifted? But everything seemed normal, and then I noticed that when I looked at the people on the stage, I really saw that covering that I always see, but it was, like, really bright, and it was really far from them, and it just was, like, really, really bright and intense compared to how I usually see it. And I thought, "Well, that's kinda interesting, what am I seeing here, what I'm looking at?" And then I thought, "Well, that's unique because that doesn't happen all the time." And then I looked down at the table, and everything on the table was vibrating. So all the innate objects that we see as solid with our eyes, everything on the table was vibrating. My drink, my notebook, my papers, my pencil. I looked at the other people's drinks that were on the table. I looked at everything on the table and it was all vibrating. So I could see it. It was moving like really fast in my eyesight. I could see it. And then I noticed around that time, oh, and before, like after that happened, It lasted for a while, a good couple minutes, and then it just stopped. And then I remember getting a headache about within 30 minutes of that right here in my third eye location. And I was like, okay, something, something just got activated. Something's going on here, right? But the unique thing was around that time, I started seeing things that would vibrate. So solid objects, I would see them have that frequency vibration. And just like I said, everything, even because everything's made from energy. So even, pencils and furniture, everything is made from energy, but it's just so dense here. And plus in our 3D eyes, we can't see it vibrate because we're dense too because of our physical body is dense in the 3D world. So we can't see it vibrating in the frequency of it, but it is very much moving and vibrating, but our eyes can't pick up on that in our physical state in the 3D body. But I started noticing that, like, I would see chairs vibrate, and I would see things move like that, and when I say vibrate, they were moving very, very fast, so it's kinda like so you can see my hand, like, back and forth really fast, like, and I could see that. And it was very interesting, and it didn't happen every day, but every once in a while I would see it, and I still see that now. And it's just really interesting that every once in a while, I guess I must be tuning into that frequency just enough that I'm able to see it, every once in a while, so that was just really interesting. And then also, I've heard other people talk about it too. I've talked to other people who have started going through the awakening process and they saw things moving too, solid innate objects vibrating like that as well, chairs and tables and things. So it wasn't just me. So other people were experiencing it too. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, be able to see that. So energy comes from all sources, right? So we have energy as people, and then I talked about the planets having energy, and in Mother Earth, she has energy as well that she's, getting through. And as we release negative energy, we rise higher and higher in our vibration, and that's all part of the ascension process. So it's not just us ascending, though. It's planet Earth is ascending at the same time, and so are the planets, and we're all interconnected that way through energy. We're all ascending at the same time. So the energy coming from, people, but also like plants have energy coming from them and crystals, and so do animals. So you think about animals, there's an energy communication going on when you're around an animal. So, ooh, it got dark all of a sudden. See, there we go. The sun finally moved, so it's not right in my face. But there's a energy communication going on. So when you have like a pet, like a cat or a dog or an animal or horse that that you interact with, it's almost, you can communicate through that energy signature. So you don't really need to have, you can't, talk, and you're talking to them and they understand you, but you can also hear, it's like that. You can also feel that energy between them. And that's really unique, that happens that way, and that you can communicate on that level, and you can feel that, between each other. But also, one of the things I noticed when I started to awaken was the crystals. Like, I definitely had, just thinking back, like, I started to work with crystals, and I remember feeling the energy coming off of them. So I would hold them in my hand. Let's see so you can see here. There you go. I would hold them in my hand, and then I would feel the energy coming off of them up my arm. And it was really neat. It was like a tingling sensation. And that's because, crystals have energy. And that's why a lot of the ancient cultures use them in healing and use them for different things because they have an energy signature to them. And just like everything, they're vibrating and you have a frequency level. And that's what I was feeling off of them. And then also plants too. I noticed that I started to feel energy coming off of plants. And so the first thing was, uh, it was first with trees. I noticed that I remember one day I was on vacation and I was visiting a mission in Texas, one of the missions by San Antonio, and he had these very big oak trees, and it was really pretty, really beautiful old trees. And I remember walking over, and I was just kind of leaning on the tree, and I put my hand on the bark of the tree, And I just leaned up to it to rest for a minute, and I could feel that energy feeling the same thing that I felt from the crystals coming up my arm. And that was the first time that I ever felt that coming from a tree, and I thought, "Wow, that's really cool." So I was quite fascinated by it, and, then I noticed, like, I came home, and as you can see, my house has a lot of wood in it. And so wood paneling, and it's real wood paneling, and I would touch it, and I was like, I could feel it coming off the wood paneling, not as intense as the tree, wasn't as intense, but I could feel it coming off the paneling. Then I was able to start feeling it come off my house plants. As you can see, there's one behind me, um, and I could feel it coming off, like, if I put my hands a few inches from the plant, I could feel that energy coming off the plant, and, it just kind of and then it's like now I can lift my hand like this and feel the energy coming off off of me, off those layers, and hitting my palm. Even with this hand warmer on my hand, I can still feel that, and that's really cool, and that's a good way if you wanna feel your own energy, your energy levels that are on around you. If you want to feel those different levels, you can just put your hands a couple inches apart and you start to feel like a warmness, a tingling between them. That's your energy that you're feeling, your energy fields. So there's different ways that you can feel it, but that's just some of the experiences I've had over the last 10 years about learning, energy. And I would advise you to definitely look into Tesla and his work. I was told by my spirit guides to look into him because I remember the particular principles sometimes they would teach me, and I'm like, "I don't understand how this is, possible." And they actually told me, "Look up Nikola Tesla and read his work." And then once I started looking into his work and reading it, I was like, "Oh, okay, now I understand, what they were trying to teach me." And then also look up quantum physics. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there about quantum physics, and it's just really fascinating when you start really dipping into it and looking into this information. And it's like I said, it's a big rabbit hole that'll just suck you into it. But it's really quite fascinating. So I'm going to leave the video with that today. But I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. And please like and subscribe this video so that other people can get this information. Because when you like and subscribe, it shoots it out across YouTube. And that way, people that might need to hear this information will have a chance to do so. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.